Hey everyone. Everyone, welcome back to the shop. We've got a fun one tonight. This one is pretty simple, and it's something that a lot of shops use. I use it in the shop all the time, and that is the infamous Sharpie. Not infamous. These come in a whole bunch of different flavors. I have. I'll show you guys. I have the regular autographing kind. I have a huge Sharpie. I have a super fine tip, which I don't know where it's at right now. It's like a pen. Oh, there it is. This guy, he's like really fine tip, and use it a lot for marking bolts, marking nuts, marking certain things on panels. And some guys use them to paint, which is pretty cool. I've seen a lot of stuff, mostly in Europe, where guys are using Sharpies and paint pens to paint helmets and vehicles and all sorts of other cool stuff. But a Sharpie is definitely a tool that whoa, that's how dry it is here. I can't even hold on to this thing; like it just pops right out. So this is a tool that's used in tons of shops all over the world. And Sharpie's done a really great job with branding and doing all of their, making sure they're a household item. Uh, when I was a kid growing up, I remember, whoops, sorry. I remember that there was a brand of marker called Marks a Lot. And the reason I remember that brand is because why can't I spin this one? There I can. The I got in trouble. I was a really little kid. My mom had a Volkswagen Bug, and I got in trouble for something. And my brother and I took Marks a Lot markers. I think it was a green and a red Marks a Lot markers that we had in the house for something. And my brother and I got in trouble, and we were really pissed. I was in first or second grade, and we took the markers and set them up against the car and then walked around the car, like all the way around the VW Bug. And my parents were even more pissed because that really, really jacked up. It was a yellow VW Bug with green and red Marks a Lot markers. They were permanent markers, like much like the Sharpie. Later on in life, in I don't know, high school, college, I guess when Sharpie kind of started coming out and getting very big, figured out a ton of tricks to do with them. They came out with different models, the fine points and the large ones, and then the huge, like 2-inch wide guys for I don't even know what you do, like mark highways and stuff. I don't know what you do with that, but I wanted to show you guys some cool things about the Sharpie that you might not know, especially if you're using it in a shop. If you're using it to, mark spark plugs or I don't know, a cut line or something like that. You need to change the cut line, and you're like, oh crap, I have this Sharpie marker on there. How do I get it off? Because I need to change it. So what I've got here is these are called coupons, and they're just pieces of aluminum, 6061. Actually, these are 5058 aluminum sheet, and they're just cut into kind of random squares. We use these. Um, I use them for TIG welding practice, and for butt welds and fillet welds and all that stuff. These are really great, and you can also you can trim them down and do whatever. Flood Heliarch is who hooked me up with these. I have a whole stack of them. They have offcuts and leftover stuff, and whenever I go down there, I check to see if they have anything cool. And the owner's nice enough to put these in the little stamper and just stamp out 40 or 50 for me really quick. And so I use these to practice. I've got a bunch of them. These are just blank, regular, nothing special about them. You can see like scrape marks and stuff on them, but it works good for the examples that we're going to do today. And this works on aluminum, steel, whatever. That's bare metal though, not anything that's painted or can absorb. That's where it gets a little different with the Sharpie. If it's bare metal, this will work really good. So I wanted to show you guys two different ways to do this. And let's see. Oh, hey, Nick. let's just let's reply to Nick. Does this still? No, it doesn't still fit in my ear. It does balance. God, I used to put pens in my ears all the time. Um, there we go. Ah, and I'm almost done with this cold. I just have this runny nose. I'm almost done with it, and got the hair done today, so I don't look homeless anymore. So I'll do the first one with you guys. And the first way to do this is to, and I'll try and do it at an angle so you guys can see it. So I'm just going to write my name on here, and then I'm going to take my name off of it. So I don't know. Can I write it in the air or write it on my knee so you guys can see it? So I'm just going to draw a box and put my name in there. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And that's just on bare aluminum. So the other thing you need is a paper towel. You can wipe it off with your hand, but then you get ink on your hand. And so I'll do a couple paper towels so we don't need the whole roll. Set that there. Now, the way to get rid of this, if you don't have anything else, you can actually use the Sharpie to help get rid of it. So what we'll do is I'll do the same kind of thing. I'll let you guys kind of see what I'm doing here. You use the Sharpie to help this stuff loosen up. So the Sharpie starts to wipe it away. The more specific you are, the better. The more, I should say, more precise you are, the better. And you can wipe it. Usually, if you're fast enough, like I'm not fast enough doing it this way. If you're fast enough, you can wipe it away. And I have no balance or leverage or anything. I'm trying not to fall over or roll away. So you can do it like this. And I should have done a simpler name like Nick with only 4 letters. And you can basically wipe it off. So what you're doing is you're using the ink inside of there to liquefy. This is the best way, I guess, to put it. That liquefy that ink in there. Now, if you look close, you can see a little bit of leftover, but again, that can be wiped away or whatever. If you're in a tough spot and you need to move a line, that old line is very hard to see now. Very hard to see. So that is one way to do it. God, this cold is killing me. And being cold is killing me. So the other way to do it, and we'll do this. Let's see. I'm trying to think of something fun to write on here. I don't know. We can just do a simple measurement. How's that? So we'll go from this line to this line, and we'll do it as 69 or 666, whatever. So that's our mark that's on there, and we need to move that mark. That can't be on there. We have something totally different. So what we use is isopropyl alcohol, and this is, you can get this at any pharmacy, or most grocery stores have it too. And you can use a regular spray bottle. I don't want to do it towards the heater, but there you go. It's just a spray bottle top that screws on the top of here. And This works great in the shop because I need to get rid of this. And isopropyl alcohol or ink is allergic to isopropyl alcohol. So it'll turn to a liquid almost right away. You ready? See how that bleeds? And now we can wipe it away. And it's gone. It evaporates very, very quickly. So we don't have the residue left over like we did on the other one. This is all pretty much gone. Now, in 5 or 10 seconds, I can come back on this exact same piece and I can put a new measurement in there. I can do 42, which of course is the answer to everything. And I can put that, I can write it right back on there. And now that's going to stay, even though I just sprayed it down with alcohol, because the alcohol evaporates very quickly. So now I have a new number in there. I can leave that on. If I want to change that number, I'll try and do this closer up so you guys can watch it kind of bleed. See how that guy bleeds like that? And that's it. Now he's gone. Now you can do a whole new number. So if you do have Sharpie stuff, and sometimes this works on clothes, sometimes it works on, on tennis shoes or whatever, but it's a quick way. You can see that ink just gets picked up by the paper towel, the ink and the alcohol. And I'm going to clean up these other coupons because we'll use them for welding and I don't want contaminants in there. And ink is a contaminant. So we'll try and keep our welds clean. That is a trick to welding. For welding, paint, prep is pretty much the biggest part there. So there we go. We have our 2 coupons. Both of them are back to ready to weld. So that's a fun, handy shop trick for getting rid of Sharpie marks on metal. And it works on aluminum, works on steel, works on titanium, works on, I think it works on iron. Yeah, because I've marked up brake stuff before. So it does help with removing that, that Sharpie mark that you don't want there anymore. A little bit of alcohol. And if you have to, if you can't wipe it, you can just dab it and it'll suck it right up. So these 2 guys are not friends. They're not friends at all. And also, if you're artistic and you want a cool look, you can do something like that. And I'll show you guys how to do, because I've watched people do this before. We'll just do a nice big smiley face because we're happy. Now, you can do ink art kind of like this, where you let him bleed down. He'll look kind of interesting. You can change the angle as it's bleeding down, make it go in different directions. So you can get kind of a little different. Oh, he's going. Oh, yeah. Whoop, there it is. Yeah, that's pretty harsh. So you can get, kind of a cool look if you're looking for something like that. So I'm gonna use my other paper towel here and get him clean. And you don't like that, you just start right back over. And there's all of our ink off of there. Of course, these are good. Actually, before welding, we will acetone these. We won't alcohol them. Acetone is a much better solvent and a much better cleaner. Alcohol works great. So, and this is 91% isopropyl. You can use 70%. It obviously doesn't work as quick, but you can use 70%. A friend of mine said they were gonna pop in here, and it's funny because we were talking about hood exit exhaust earlier, and then Nick popped in. Um, and Nick used to have a hood exit exhaust, so that was kind of serendipitous. So we'll see if they pop on. It was um, yeah, there we go. There's Heather and Nick. Are you still here? Maybe Nick's still here. Um, we were talking about Heather's working on an eighth gen Civic, and I think her son is working on an EK is it an EG hatch? Maybe it's an EG hatch. And her son is talking about hood exit exhaust on his EG hatch. And oh, sorry, EF. And Nick had a hood exit exhaust on his Passat wagon, which was a pretty sweet little wagon. It's a cool little ride. So I figured you guys could go back and forth about hood exit exhausts and the pros and cons. Now, Nick's, with it being a diesel, it's kind of cool. I will admit it's kind of cool. But for a weekend car, probably not the way to go. And if it's a drag car, sure, because you want to, get the exhaust out as quick as possible. You don't care about sound or anything else. What is next? I do not recommend, but mine was a diesel. Yeah. Even with standard gasoline engine, it's not all that great. Oh, yeah, that's right. It also, they're not thrilled because the exhaust is in front of the driver instead of behind the driver for autocross. That's a lot of racing has that rule. So definitely check with whatever, if you're with HSR or NASA or SCCA or whoever, check their rules regarding where exhaust needs to be in relation to the driver or anything like that. So, yeah, Nick, your car would have been pretty fun at autocross with that big back end, man. You would have swung that thing around. That'd have been great. No, it is cool. It is a very cool look, and it sounds cool, but there's the realities, and the realities are, like Nick said, it can get very dirty with the diesel. It definitely gets dirty quick, and then there's the sound, and it's going to be very loud, even with that windshield right in the way. Yeah, Nick. Well, whatever you pick up in the future, whether you get a 2500 or an S13, will definitely hit autocross. Yeah, the sound was pretty awesome. And you get that up at Tail of the Dragon in the middle of the night with no other cars around. It sounds pretty damn cool. All the GoPro footage was pretty cool. Typical Honda, loud. Yep, yep. It'll be very loud. The K series engines are a little bit quieter, but the D series and the B series engines, they run a lot of compression, so they'll be louder. Yeah, that wagon was pretty cool. Uh, Getting passed by Geronimo was, and who else was with us? Oh, Geronimo and Mitch passing us like it was like a magic trick. Like I looked in my rearview mirror, and here he goes, and then I blinked my eye, and he's 200 feet in front of me. It was crazy. No, I think it's a D series in the EF. Yeah, it's a D series. Yeah. Yeah, Heather has a K20 in her Civic. And then her son has the D series in his EF. Yeah, that'll be pretty loud. What do the D series go up to? They go up to 8 grand? something like that. They go pretty high. And Heather, you were talking about VTEC and VTEC kicking in. We had Nick and I have a friend, um, Daniel, who bought a S2K, and he found out very quickly about VTEC. Yeah, very quickly at a open track drift event, he put it right into the wall. It did not take much. And watching back in the video, VTEC kicked in literally 20 feet before he couldn't save it. So he got surprised by it, and a lot of people get surprised by it. It's not a subtle thing. Yeah, thankfully he got rid of that. I think he repaired the S2K and sold it, and then but he's been wary about VTEC ever since. VTEC is a lot of fun. I drove the car before he wrecked it, and it's a lot of fun when it does kick in. Um, it's kind of like what's the way to explain it? It's like a 20 shot of nitrous, you know, and it's fun, but it's not gradual at all. It's an interesting thing. Yeah, and that's the other thing. You're at high RPM, so when VTEC does kick in and you shift, you know, yeah, yeah, kind of hyperdrive. It's definitely a, I don't know. I wouldn't really call it boost, but it feels like boost. Definitely feels like boost. Um, it's a very cool system. It works really well, and you know, Honda's done really well with it. The the K20s and K24s, they definitely benefit from it. Definitely. Um, there's other systems like that. Like VW has the not the compound turbos, but they have the supercharger plus turbo, and the supercharger shuts off after the turbo kicks on, which is a pretty cool system. It's a very small supercharger and a very small turbo, but the dual, I don't know what you would call that. Is that a dual boost? Twin boost? Nick, you might know. I don't know what VW calls that system, but I believe they have it in the Passat, or they have it in a Jetta, and I can't remember what they had it in, but it was pretty cool system. The supercharger works up to a certain point, and then the supercharger gets turned off, and then the turbocharger kicks on. So, and it was actually a pretty smooth transition between the two. It was a combination system that VW had between supercharger for the first half of the duty cycle, and then turbocharger for the second half. And I don't remember what car they had it in. And they didn't call it twin charged. I don't remember what they called it. It was a cool system, but everything was very small. It was a very small supercharger. It was a very small turbocharger, but it worked pretty well. Twin charger. Okay, so let's call it a twin charger. Supercharger, and that's the other good thing alcohol is good for, is cleaning glasses. Those systems are kind of cool, but they were very limited on what they could do. And I like the idea of that, you know, getting all that, you know, instant boost with the supercharger right up front, and then turning it over to the turbocharger, who's built up big boost at the back end. If you look at Bonneville and the AA cars, and the, you know, the, not the Streamliners, but the other ones, the ones that look like regular production cars. If you look at those guys, they all run gigantic turbos. They do not run superchargers because they don't need that boost at the low speed. They need all that boost at the massive top end, and they need something to push them there. And turbos don't ever run out. You know, they can keep going and going. Superchargers do. They lose efficiency. I don't want to say quickly, but they lose efficiency much quicker than turbochargers do. Yeah, we didn't get them in the States? Okay. Is the polo item. Okay. Yeah. It figures we didn't get it in the States. We don't get any of the cool stuff. You know, everyone cries for, hey, we want more fuel efficient cars. And the government's like, you guys must drive more fuel efficient cars. We're like, yeah, we'd love more fuel efficient cars. And you know, Smart comes out and says, hey, we have 100 mile per gallon diesel. And they're like, whoa, 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 no, we can't take that. Not a diesel. No, no, whoa, no. But it's 100 miles to the gallon. Well, it doesn't matter. It's diesel. It's obviously dirty. It's going to ruin the environment. No, it's actually clean diesel. It is very, very efficient. Plus, you're barely using any. No, no, no. Diesel, bad. Jeep comes out with the CRD, and they put it in a couple different. They put it in the Commander. They put it in the Liberty. They put it in a couple different ones. There's in Canada, and you know, 60, 70 miles to the gallon in a little SUV. And no, no, can't take that. Diesel, no, bad. What? No, we just said it was super efficient and clean. But no, it's diesel, it's bad. Well, shit. Okay. I don't know what you guys want. You want us to run super clean, but you don't want us to run a diesel. But the diesels run super clean. 80% of Europe runs on diesel. What? And they're far more militant about clean air than we are. What do you want? Follow the money, folks. Oh, that system wasn't very reliable. Yeah, I think there's ways to do that, and I don't think you have to have a 3-liter supercharger up front. You know, you don't have to have a Elephant and then two, you know, Garrett 85s on the backside. I think you can do something in between that'll get you in the 1,000 horsepower range that's reliable. Toyota made a really cool car you can only get in Canada. Oh, the system worked, but the 1.4 wasn't very good. Okay. Well, maybe they should do a 2.0. Yeah, I think yeah, the Yaris GR. Yeah. A lot of places we can get the Corolla GR, but we can't get the Yaris GR. And there's a whole bunch of rules regarding that. There's a bunch of stuff like cafe standards, which is regarding fuel mileage, regarding your brand. So that's why Ram is a separate brand now from Dodge, because the fuel efficiency of the truck was killing their cafe standards, and they had to pay penalties and all of that. So they made it a different brand. And that way it doesn't fall under the Dodge, Chrysler, whatever. There's other companies that have done, you know, similar. They try and, like, Chevy's cut so many models, and they disbanded so many brands so their cafe standards could come and they wouldn't get fined. And cafe is, you have to have it in, if you look it up, it's on Wikipedia, but cafe standards, you have to have a certain MPG average for your entire lineup, and it has to be a certain number, otherwise you get penalized. Oh, you like the Yaris much better than the Rolla? Okay. They've gotten better with rules lately about importing stuff, so I'm sure there's going to be guys that are sneaking those Yaris's in. Or hell, just go to Canada and buy one, drive it back. You know, there are places that do import, export, and cover all the paperwork and stuff. So no, no, that can't be under. It's a brand new production vehicle. It can't be under that 25-year thing. That would be dumb. Especially if it's part of their. Well, I don't know. I don't know. The government does do some dumb, dumb shit. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I've heard guys, you know, trying to get it. The Car Bros guys were talking about it, how they want to score the Yaris versus the Corolla. But then with the Corolla, they had like a base version, which was awesome. Then they had a track pack version, and then they had a super track. I don't remember what they were all called, what the different models were. Shown display titles for 1,000 miles a year. Oh God, that sucks. Um, that sucks. Nah, or I guess the other option would be to do a Yaris and bring in all the parts for the GR. And just make your own. If Toyota can do it, you can do it. That's my theory. Purpose built, yeah, that would have to be a body in white from Toyota, and that wouldn't have a VIN or anything like that. That would just be a bill of sale. So that would be a little bit different because if you buy with a VIN, then the dealer can get in trouble too. So, and the manufacturer, everyone can get in trouble if you have a VIN. So, yeah, I would imagine that would be a body in white, and that would be something you could build. I don't know if Toyota offers bodies in white for any of their cars. I had to build one. I mean, it's an '87, but still, it was a body in white. uh, yeah, that sucks when we get denied the cool cars, even though like people jump up and down about the Viper. They're like, "Oh, you're killing the environment and all this other stuff." I don't drive the Viper as much as someone who drives a Prius. Someone who drives a Prius is actually killing the environment a lot more, even though they're half hybrid and all of that. They're putting a lot more gas through their engine than I am with my Viper every year. And they've sold millions of Priuses. They've only sold 29,800 some Vipers. So, yeah, I'm not killing the environment. Not like you think I am. Plus, all the active volcanoes in the world don't even touch what we're doing with cars and trucks and all that. Yeah. You worried about CO2? Plug up some volcanoes. Yeah. Uh, yep. Um, yeah, there's a huge thing you can go on and on and on about all of that. It's the same deal with the Teslas. Yeah, people think, you know, hey, Leon. Yeah, corporations do dump more CO2, but again, nothing compares to Mother Nature. Mother Nature will win every single time. You get in a competition with Mother Nature, you're going to lose. That's her gig. She owns all of us. I hate to tell everyone that, but we're going to be long gone. She's going to be hanging out with cockroaches and Cher. You know, Cher's not going to biodegrade. Come on. So yeah, that's the other fun thing about EVs. And I'm not anti-EV or anything like that, but I believe there's a place for them. I just don't quite know where it is yet. And the funny thing about EV people is that they think electricity comes out of thin air. Now, Leon, you goddamn well know that electricity does not come out of thin air, except that it kind of does. Um, Leon, Leon used to work for a solar manufacturer, a solar cell manufacturer, and Leon's pretty damn smart. Um, so they think that, but again, most of what was it? Something like 12% of our power comes from solar, maybe less than 10. EVs are here to save the car industry, not the planet. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Heather, good point. Repair costs. Yeah. And heavy. Yeah. What is the Cybertruck weighs almost 4 tons? I mean, it's bulletproof, which is kind of cool. And Joe Rogan proved that it was arrow proof, like hunting bow proof. That was kind of interesting. Silly but interesting. So most of our in the US, most of our electricity comes from coal and nuclear. And then people get upset, where Heather and I grew up, we would watch coal trains, 300 cars every day hauling coal to the Hayden power plant. And the Hayden power plant sent power a lot of places. And we watch these huge coal trains and they're just filled to the brim with coal. So coal is where we're getting our electricity from. So people think they're saving their planet by driving an electric car, but actually their electricity is coming from coal or from nuclear. There's a very, very small amount that comes from solar. So it's an efficiency thing, power plants. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's another good point. Uh, Leon, you're correct. I would say the average automobile engine is probably 30% efficient. I don't know. The only thing I know that's like 100% efficient would be like Top Fuel dragsters, because what they're doing is they are mixing air and fuel, and they are compressing it, and they're not using like regular gasoline. They're using nitromethane, which is something totally different than what we put in here, and it smells so weird compared to regular gasoline. They're packing it between the cylinder and the head, and just before, literally, let's see, how do we do this? Right before it becomes solid, that spark ignites, and that's how that works. That's extremely efficient. When you have, all right, Nick, thanks, man. Have fun. I guess you're off to work, man. Have fun. When you are compressing air and fuel to a point where you have almost solid fuel, that's very, very efficient. And so that's where, but here's the problem, those things only run 1,000 RPMs, and they do it, let's say they do it 5 times in a day, that's only 5,000 RPMs. So they're not really helping it. And also the amount of nitromethane they're using is not, it's not interacting with the atmosphere. The atmosphere can take care of all of that. So it's a very small amount compared to the 405. What's happening on the 405 every day is out of control. But yeah, Rivian is, excuse me. Yeah, Rivian, a friend of ours, Geronimo, that we were talking about earlier, he works for Rivian, and they're trying a whole bunch of different stuff, and kudos to them. Go ahead, and if they come up with a better idea or a better battery, the biggest problem for us is batteries. Getting that efficient, portable power is difficult, and we're probably 20 years away from having that, where we now do have a vehicle that's 2,500 or 3,000 pounds that charges in 10 minutes, and you can get 350 miles out of. Let's see. Yeah, Leon, you're correct. Yeah, 50 years. Okay. Sorry, you would know better than I would. You're neck deep in that stuff. But I agree. The steps taken at bigger levels are going to help the steps taken at lower levels. So when China finally puts a filter on all of their bullshit, that will help us put filters on ours. And then, Europe's already way ahead of us. They have filters on all their stuff. So those are, Same thing in Africa and South America and everywhere else. Those guys start taking care of it. That makes it easier for us to take care of. So we need to have the bigger guys do it and show us how to do it so that we can do it. And that will help things progress the way they should. But battery tech is a ways away. And you know, I want, you know, I want it to be awesome. I want people to have the option, you know, do I get an ICE or do I get a, a electric vehicle? Which is a better option? They're the same price. They both look cool. I have, you know, three phase at my house because every house now is built with three phase, right? Whatever. If they have that option, I think that really helps. And not against it. I'm convert. I'm picking up a Friday. I'm picking up a Lamborghini Urus, which is obviously an ICE, and I'm picking up a Tesla Plaid, which is obviously an EV. So I'll have two different things on here, you know, that are two very different vehicles. Hey, Reese. Room temperature superconductors, that'd be nice. If you guys want to talk about really cool stuff, and Leon and I have talked about this before, way back when we were, this is before he had a beard, before he had a wife, when he only had guitars that were very pointy. We were talking about Cray supercomputers. And what Stephen Cray did with supercomputers was pretty incredible, measuring out how far a circuit needs to be and how quickly those electrons travel across that in order to compute all of that stuff, and cooling of liquid nitrogen and the design of them, the Cray stuff. Even today, I mean, if you watch Jurassic Park, you can see a Cray computer. If you watch, it was one of the Mission Impossible movies, they had a Cray supercomputer in there too. But the one in Jurassic Park is very evident. And the one in Jurassic Park was actually like 25 years old when they shot the movie. That's how cool it was. So, yeah, I've driven, and here's getting back to the car stuff. I've driven the Ariel Atom, the V8 Ariel Atom will go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It is terrifying. It is otherworldly. It is surreal how quickly that thing propels you across the distance. The same can be said for the Tesla Plaid, which I've also driven. And I wasn't even in drag race mode or anything. I was just in driving mode. And it'll also go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It does it differently. In the Atom, you're all exposed. It's an open cockpit. It's very loud. You have to have a helmet on. And it's very light and very nimble. The Plaid is a big vehicle, but there's no, it's not like a Queen Mary, like a cruise ship where you're like, whoa, here we go, hard port. You have to, you know, turn really hard. It's it handles very well. And the difference is you can have 3 other people with you and you can scare the holy shit out of them when you stomp on the pedal. So that's the difference between it. Yeah, and Heather, you're correct. The Tesla has instant torque. EVs have instant torque. That happens right away. The Atom basically has instant torque, but that's only because it's only 1,400 pounds. So the sensation of moving that quickly and the ability to move that quickly is mainly because it's lightweight, not because of all the torque that it makes. That Hartley V8, I think it's, I don't know. I'd have to talk to Bill. I don't know the torque numbers on it. I want to say 440 on torque. So it doesn't, you know, it's 500 horsepower, but it's not a ton of torque versus this car. This car is 455 horsepower and 485 foot-pounds of torque. But it'll go, I don't know how fast it goes 0 to 60. It'll probably do it in 6 or 7 seconds with the tub full, but again, totally different kinds of vehicles. So, uh, room temperature. What Einstein called spooky action at a distance. Is spooky action the train when you see people on the train? I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of Einstein stuff out there. Was that when you are standing at a train station, you see someone walk on the car, the opposite direction of the train's traveling? Is that what that is? I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of physics going on. A lot. Train stuff is relativity. No, it's quantum effect that we don't understand. Okay. Okay. Sorry. There's a lot of Einstein in there. Um, I'm trying to be smart. I swear I am. I swear I am. So I'm with you guys um, with the availability of ice and watching these different companies come about, like Rivian, like Tesla, uh, Rimac. I got to work on this was a couple of months ago, super top secret. Um, is it the Navara? Is that the super badass Rimac that's out there now? Um, there was one in town, and it wasn't supposed to be in town, and it needed some work, and I got to help the Rimac tech that was flown into town and spent like 2 weeks here working on the car. I got to help him out. I think it's a Navara. Again, it's really cool, and I guess the side effect of the EVs that's cool, that can be cool if they do it right, is the technology. The technology that they're putting in there can be used in regular ICE cars, to a certain extent. Quantum entanglement. Oh my God. Bollinger? Um, I don't know. I don't know what happened to Bollinger. Uh, the technology in the Plaid is amazing. Driving that on the screen, it will show you like trash cans. It will show you the lines in the road. It will show you stop signs and stop lights. And it has, the cameras are very sensitive and it picks all this stuff up. Um, East Coast guys were making cool Lego truck. Oh, okay. I honestly don't remember them. uh, if that technology can get taken and put into not necessarily consumer cars, but into production or commercial vehicles, that would really help out. So if you have a delivery truck that can spot, a bike in the road, that would really help it because those vehicles take a lot longer to slow down. And also, I mean, people are paying less and less attention when they're driving. I see it every day when I drive. They're on their phone or they're eating food or they're ironing clothes or reading a book. I said, God, I can't tell you how many times I was in New York and I'm cruising down the Van Wyck and someone's reading a book while they're driving. Ah, that's a really good question, Reese. So I was reading a couple of articles. If you guys aren't subscribed to Apex Motorsport on Facebook, you really should be. They have a lot of very cool people in there, and they have a lot of cool articles. And they've had a couple of articles recently regarding BMW and GM both going towards hydrogen. They are pushing the hydrogen model, and I'm kind of for it. I want to see what happens to it. The the safety issue is the biggest thing, and I think they yeah. I here's the other bigger problem that people really need to think about. Where's the money coming from? So number one, who's going to pay for it? Number two, who's getting paid for it? So that's where you need to figure that out. If the government can't make money off of it, they're not going to allow it. It's one of the biggest reasons why we don't have clean diesel stuff here in the US, like that smart car, those CRD Jeeps. That's why we don't have that stuff, is because they can't get paid for it. Yeah, someone has to come up with uh, a way to get the technology out there while appeasing the companies and appeasing the government. Uh, I know you can alter an existing ice to run off of uh, LPG, but I don't know if you can do it with water. I've seen too many vehicles underwater not running in order to do that. Um, I've seen too many vehicles um, hydrolocked, and um, when you, it's hard when you're dealing with materials that don't react to tap water very well. Yeah, electrolysis. Yep, there's yeah. Uh, Now you're starting to get into chemical engineering, and having a chemical engineer in a synthesis role with a car company is uh I don't know. That's I don't think that's such a good idea. Yeah, I don't think it would go over very well. Yeah, trying to get these guys to and girls to interact is very difficult. Yeah. Um, you're combining technologies. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for crossing over, and I'm all for thinking out of the box. And hearing that GM and BMW are working on these hydrogen, and Toyota working on these hydrogen power plants, that was like, yes, you guys go try and get this to a reliable level, a powerful level, and a cost-effective level. You know, I you have the resources, you have the money. Yeah, E85 is still a thing, and guys run that. It's very efficient. It's very cheap. It can be very dirty, and it can wear through engines very quickly. So that's one of the reasons why E85 is not a big thing. Yeah, they need to find now, and that goes to your point, Reese. The reason Tesla is winning this EV battle is because they delivered one thing, and it's not the technology. It's not Elon's "go screw yourself" attitude. It's not any of that. What they delivered was a full tank of gas. That was the most terrifying thing about electric vehicles for the last century. And a lot of the first cars were actually electric. And Mercedes, Daimler Benz actually did a electric vehicle. What, 1904, 1906? They had a fully electric vehicle. It goes 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Everyone was doing electric. In 1973 or 74, there was a company in Cleveland. You would buy an AMC Pacer, and you would drop it off at this company in Cleveland, and I think it was $3,000, and they would give you back a fully electric Pacer. It was all batteries in the front, and you would have a full. Yeah, but that was the thing. You only had a 30-mile range. But for a little, commuter car like that, it wasn't a big deal. But now people want a full tank of gas. It was that fear of being stranded at, somewhere between San Luis Obispo and Beverly Hills. Can't get stranded on the 5, or was that the 101? Yeah, it's 101 that goes up to the SLO. So you can't get stranded. That was the biggest fear, and that's what Elon delivered, was 300 miles. He gave you a full tank of gas. That's how he wins. These other ones, like the Nissan Leaf, it's 80 miles? And then GM had that joke to cover their bailout. What's the one? They don't allow them in parking garages in Chicago. I saw a couple of parking garages that were like, no, the Bolt or the Volt. Bolt or Volt, one of those two. They don't allow them there. There's an insurance thing. So he made a car. Yeah. Yeah, they did go cheap on the Model 3. A friend of mine's wife has one, and it's kind of plasticky. Yeah, Heather, Chevy Volt. Yeah, the Volt and the Bolt were the ones that I saw in, there was a parking garage in Chicago. It says, you can't park here. And I was really surprised. And I've seen it in a few different places. I saw it in Louisville too. I saw it in a couple different places. Oh God, Neuralink. Woo! Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Neuralink is that's pretty terrifying too. I'm happy he's really focusing on getting to Mars. Ooh. I'm happy he's focusing on delivering vehicles to people. I talked to Lance earlier today. His Cybertruck is on the way, so I'll get to drive one of those pretty soon, which is pretty cool. The redeeming thing about Elon, and the thing that makes a lot of people pull back, is he is not psychotic. He's not a supervillain. He's not doing things trying to take over the world. He actually does have positive intentions. So, it might be a roundabout way to get to that, but he does have the greater good at at the base of his list. Yeah, a friend of mine has. It's not Neuralink. What's the satellite system he has? Starlink. A friend of mine has that, and he absolutely loves it. He said it blows away Dish Network and HughesNet and all of that stuff. Yeah, he loves it. He says it's a little bit expensive right now, but he's sure prices will come down. And he's really in the boondocks. They don't have cable out there. He's on, I think he's on geothermal and propane. He's way out in the country, and he loves it. Absolutely loves it. So I think that's one of the things, Starlink. Okay, you know, he's trying to do the good stuff. I don't know. I think he gets torn, not torn, but he gets pulled in so many different directions that it makes it difficult to focus on one thing. So getting to Mars, he focuses on that a little bit, and then he gets pulled back to Neuralink, and then he gets pulled over to Tesla, and then he gets pulled over to Starlink, and then people want to take him apart, in interviews and stuff, and then I don't know. And then what's his girlfriend's name? I'm like, Elon, dude, that's the absolute very best. Okay, man. What was her name? Grimace or something? I don't know. Anyway, if he would focus, have more time to focus on one thing, I think he would deliver a much better product to that one thing quicker. You get pulled away from stuff. I know that from being here at my shop. I get pulled away from the limo. It takes me 2 years to build this limo because I get pulled away to do racing. I get pulled away to do other projects. You got to move to Florida. I've got all this other stuff. a dozen other cars coming in here that need my help. Got to rebuild this engine. Michael Money shifted that one, and I get pulled in a bunch of different directions. So I think it's the same thing with him. When he keeps getting pulled in different directions, it's difficult to deliver that product quicker. Was working on a good recycling program. Oh, okay. He looks like a front man. He the first time I watched the long form interview with Joe Rogan, it was very odd because the all of the thumbnails everywhere on every page on the internet was a picture of him taking a hit off the joint. And in California, it's perfectly legal, or wherever the hell they were. I don't remember where they were. I think it was in California. Perfectly legal. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But that was the thumbnail that everyone used. And that whole section is about 2 minutes of a 2.5 hour interview. And it was actually a really, really good interview with a myriad of topics covered. And the oddest thing for me was to hear someone speak how I think. That really messed me up. I'm watching the interview and I'm like, that is how my thought process works, is how he talks. I do think he's on the spectrum somewhere. I think he's probably closer to Asperger's, but I don't know for sure. But if he's on the spectrum, he's extremely high functioning, extremely high functioning. And I guess I'm probably on the spectrum and I'm probably high functioning too. So his hubris will be his undoing, probably. Down with the kids. Yeah, I don't know. I think probably Elon getting high twice a week might not be such a bad idea, considering the amount of pressure and uh, considering that guy's life. I don't think that would be a bad thing. He sold all of his houses. Something, to me, that's nuts. You would keep those as assets and all of that, but he he apparently sold all of his houses, and I guess he lives in Airbnbs or stays in friends' couches or whatever. Okay, so I don't know. I honestly believe he is trying to do the right thing. I don't think he's trying to take over the world. I don't think he's Hitler. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think I think he gets stretched in a lot of different directions. Oh, the smart roadsters, the new roadsters that he has coming out, or the old Lotus ones with all the Panasonic laptop batteries in it? Because the new roadsters look absolutely amazing. I think they look great. I thought it was hysterical that they sent that roadster into space with a Matchbox roadster on the dash. I thought that was kind of funny. Smart. I haven't seen. Wait, the smart roadster, like the convertibles? Reese, are you in Europe? Because Sierra tells me you are in Europe. Because that was the car that I rented when I went to Europe with my dad. I didn't rent it, he rented it. Yep. Okay. Good man. Good call. Look at that lucky guess. Darren's old car. I haven't seen the smart roadster. I remember they had the convertible or the ragtop or soft top or whatever it was. It's a go-kart. Hmm. Yeah, the Sierra in the US, we had the Mercure XR4 Ti, and they called it the XR4 Ti because they brought the engine over as a Thunderbird engine, and that's what the T stood for. So it had they brought the car over and they put the Thunderbird engine in it, and Ford saved a bunch of money. And they had that separate brand, Mercure, so it didn't go against Cafe. They saved money by bringing it over and putting their own engine in it. That's how Ford did that. And I liked the when I drove the Sierra when I was in Europe. I was 15, and I'm on the autobahn, and I'll do this as one of my driving stories because it's really funny. I'm 15 years old. I'm on the autobahn with my dad. We are driving to Zuffenhausen, and for those that don't know, Zuffenhausen is a suburb or a district of Stuttgart where they make Porsches. And Zuffenhausen at the time is the main factory for Porsche. So we're on the Autobahn and we're driving to Zuffenhausen. And I look down at the speedometer and I'm doing 160 kph. And I'm over in the left lane because I think I'm winning. I'm going to get a trophy, something. I'm going to be on the podium because I'm doing 160, 170 kilometers an hour. This Mercedes Benz comes up behind me, like appeared behind me, didn't like slowly pull up. It was all of a sudden on my ass and flashing beams, honking horn. And I'm like, oh crap. And I get over a lane and this thing rips past me. Little old lady, probably 75 years old. Boom, gone. And I'm like, holy crap. Now in the right lane, someone comes past me and just zooms. And I'm like, I am really in the wrong lane. My dad's just laughing his ass off. My dad thinks this is funny as hell. So I pull over into the far right. It's 3 lanes. And I pull over into the far right lane. I'm still doing 160, 180 kilometers an hour. People are walking past me, just boom, 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 boom. And it's everyone. It's, kids, it's old people. And I'm like, but the speed limit, and my dad's like, there isn't a speed limit here. This is back in the day. There isn't a speed limit here. So as long as you're under control, they're not going to touch you. And we go past this big, long strip. And I see the Stuttgart or the Autobahn police, and you cannot miss them. They have very bright cars, and it says Polizei on the side. And at the time, they were in Porsche 930 turbos, and there were 2 of them. And I was like, oh wow, holy crap. And my dad's like, yeah, they will catch you. And I'm like, oh yeah, nope, they absolutely will. So unless you had something at the time like you would have had to had like an F1 car, and then they won't catch you. But the 930 turbo at the time was a super badass car. So watching these people, and it was everybody, just soccer moms and everybody just blazing past me in all these different vehicles, uh, Ford Transit vans and shit like that, just ripping past me. I'm like, oh my god, okay, that's how they do it over there. And we did go to Zuffenhausen. We did the factory tour, and yes, there were 2 little old ladies sewing the seats, the leather for the seats together. That was Porsche back in the day. I have pictures somewhere from that trip. I'll put them up on Facebook or up on Instagram. Toyota Sienna? Yeah, Leon, you're probably gonna have to do Sienna. Freudenstadt, yep. I know where that is. Yeah, it was. It was a big eye opener for traveling in Europe. I'd been to Europe a whole bunch. My dad was Austrian, so we did a ton of stuff in Europe. And in high school, I spent 6 weeks in Spain and went to Gibraltar, went to Morocco, went to France, Andorra. Nobody goes to Andorra on purpose. And then I got to travel all around Europe. Italy, Austria, Germany. All these places with my dad, which was really, really great. Liechtenstein, and In all those other trips, I was a small kid, so this was the first time I got to drive and sort of really enjoyed the trip. There was another time when we were driving in Austria, and driving the Austrian Alps is something different. And you wonder how those, the rally drivers and the hill climb guys, how come they're all from Europe? That's why. Those are their roads. That's what they drive, and they're very tiny. They're very small, and they have to be very good, or they're very dead. So you learn very quick over there. Um, but yeah, driving that road, and no, I was not supposed to be driving the car. My dad let me drive the car. I begged to drive the car. I'm like, Dad, I want to drive on the Autobahn. I want to drive on the Autobahn. He's like, okay. So my dad could have gotten in a lot of trouble, especially if I got in an accident. Um, but yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. It was a lot of fun. Things have totally changed now. There's cameras. They mark your speed. They're tracking you the entire way you're on the Autobahn. This was a lot different back then. But they still had that protection that if you were doing dumb shit, they would absolutely get you. Nürnstein? Oh yeah, to the big castle up on the hill with the cool bridge that goes over to it. That's a really really famous castle. I think that's in a bunch of posters, like inspirational posters all over the place. Um, that's a very cool place. I have not been there. I know where it is, but I haven't been there. My dad was from Dornbirn, so yeah, there you go. Hey, Hammond. Oh, Brian, you already know the shop tip. You want me to? You guys, should I do the shop tip for him again? All right, I'll do the shop tip. Hang on. Need a paper towel. We'll do it really quick. Because we've been talking EVs and European driving and all this other stuff. So we've got a aluminum coupon here. Nothing special. We've got a Sharpie. And I'll do this quick for you guys. Because Brian's here, we'll use his name. How's that? So I've got this point to this point, and I'm going to do Bry. And so that's what we have on our metal. But oh no, this isn't the right measurement. I gotta get rid of this measurement. Well, how do I do that? I don't want to grind it down or anything like that. So the easy way to do it is to actually use the Sharpie. I'll try and do this with one hand. You can use the Sharpie to get this stuff wet again and then wipe it off. Same thing. Takes a couple times. And it helps with the newer the Sharpie, the better it works. So you just go over what you've written. A little bit of paper towel action. And you can wipe away most of it. This works on aluminum, on steel, on a bunch of other stuff. So if you don't have anything, any kind of solvent or cleaner or anything, you can actually use the original thing to clean off. It didn't clean it very well. It's hard to balance on this stool and not roll away, so I can't get any pressure on it. And my left hand is still messed up from that Miami trip. Anyway, we're just giving it a little elbow grease here. I'm trying to show you guys so you don't think I'm hiding anything, but that looks better, right? So now Bry is totally gone. Yeah, but Leon knows what's coming. Yeah, so does Hammond. So let's do let's do another measurement. This one, we're going to go from here to here. And this one's going to be Brian because he was late to class. So there's Brian. And here's the other way we can get rid of that. And that is with isopropyl alcohol. And this is a regular bottle you get at CVS. This one's from Meijer, sorry. You can get this at any grocery store or pharmacy. It usually comes in 90, 91% or 70%. It's hard to find 100%. If you can order it, I'm sure, but this stuff works great. I use it around the shop all the time. I use it to clean the glasses, and ink is allergic to alcohol. You ready? Watch this. 2 sprays. Don't put the isopropyl alcohol. You can see what happens to the ink. And gone. You also have very clean metal. You could weld like this, but you will want to use acetone. So that's it. And there's all the ink on the paper towel. So instead of grinding it down or trying to wipe it around off or anything like that, ink and a paper towel, and you are isopropyl alcohol and a paper towel, and you're good to go. I set this bottle right down right in front of the heater. Never said I was smart. Great for TIG time, yep. But you would want to acetone that before you TIG it. But you already knew that part. And Leon knows that too. Acetone is a much better solvent than alcohol. So yeah, to the moon. Hey Reese, great to talk to you, man. Go have a great day. Enjoy the UK, man. Tell Graham Norton I said hi. His show's hysterical. I don't know if anyone here watches clips from the Graham Norton show, but the guy's very, very funny. His format's great too. I love it. And tell Ben Collins that I said hi. I'm sure you'll run into him. Yeah, Leon, acetone is it evaporates quicker, but it digs deeper into open pores on the aluminum. So you'll definitely get a cleaner working surface with a lot less contaminants. When you see those guys that do the really sweet Cobra weave welds, they have probably cleaned that 20 times with acetone because they need it to be absolutely perfect with no contaminants. They don't want anything to pop out or anything like that. They're absolutely perfect with their tungsten. They're almost a machine. So that's why you clean it with acetone versus alcohol. Alcohol can do the job. It can work getting things very clean. Like you can lick this and you're not going to get sick. But if I was to weld this, I would definitely want acetone to clean all this stuff because like these corners, when they were cut, the machine that cut these, probably not super clean. And it looks like it is. You know, it looks like a razor blade, but there's little pieces of metal from steel, from, you know, other types of aluminum, from other stuff in there that you don't want in your weld. And when you're welding, those things will go bink and pop out, or they'll make your weld weak. They'll leave a big, you know, hole, like a little bit of porosity. Yeah, acetone is a solvent, so it will eat rubber. Yeah, that's why, like I said, acetone is great, but alcohol works. That's why I keep it in a spray bottle. Acetone is actually in a 1-gallon jug over there, but I keep this in a spray bottle because we're using this most of the time, and it does most of the work. If you need acetone, I'll go and rag or paper towel or whatever, acetone it. Yeah. But most of the time, it's going to be just isopropyl is going to work most of the time. Yeah. And you can use it like Brian was talking about Hammond. You can use it on the whiteboard too. Like I've had a bunch of stuff up there for like a year on the whiteboard, and you wipe it off with the eraser, and it's still kind of there. You can use this; it'll clean it right off. We've got a bunch of stuff on the whiteboard that will probably have to come off. When I go to Florida, it'll definitely come off. Um, but yeah, that was cool. I'm glad Reese stopped by. That was nice. It's also nice to get a kind of an EU view on ICE versus EV and how it's progressing over there versus how it's progressing here, how hard it's pushed here versus how hard it's pushed there, the benefits there, benefits here, etc. So hopefully that helps him too. Yeah, depending on the bearings. If they're stainless bearings, you can use acetone. Um, Depending on if it's just stainless steel, if they're bronze or have any kind of bronze bushing or anything, you want to be a little bit more careful. But you can use uh, yeah, you can use acetone for that stuff. For a lot of the metals, you can. It doesn't. It evaporates pretty quickly. It doesn't tear down a lot of metals. Trying to think. There's some alloys that acetone's not hot with. God, I don't remember. Is copper one of them? Can't remember off the top of my head. Now you're getting into metallurgy and all that stuff. Selenium dust buildup. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Um, God, whenever I hear selenium, all I think about is the movie Evolution, and just Orlando Jones and David Duchovny in that movie are hysterical, absolutely hysterical together. And caw yeah, it just makes me laugh. I know selenium doesn't make people go caw, but for me it does. Sorry, I'm a weird person. Yeah, that sounds like an interesting piece of gear. But when you're working with solar stuff, you have your guys' stuff. I don't want to say it's top secret, but people know so little about it. Like with EVs, people are very familiar with electricity and DC and AC and three phase and how all of that stuff works. So it's a lot easier for people to relate to it. When you get into solar, people start wondering like, how do you get the sun to make magic panels turn into electricity? It's people get people get lost in the minutia real quick because they're not, they don't have a daily reference to it. Even though their watch might be solar, or they have solar panels on their house that are heating their water or whatever, they don't have that instant interaction with it like we do with electricity, turning on lights, turning on a computer, that sort of thing. So when you get into solar, people are like, oh, or you get into nuclear, all they hear is the bad parts, right? Totes. Totes my goats. Yeah, I have good news for you, Leon. I am not one of those 35 people. I would like to be. I'd like to be number 36. Don't get me wrong. I love learning, but I'm not on that list, man. That's pretty serious. That's a pretty serious list. Hey, and just real quick, you guys are okay in California? I know the rain is like relentless there. I watched the Weather Channel earlier while I was eating dinner, and it was literally all California, and they were going from Humboldt County all the way down to San Diego. They were going into Mexico with, yeah, okay, good. You guys got your power back. That's good. I know you're further north, but it doesn't matter. They were going literally from Oregon all the way down to the Baja Peninsula is just all the way soaked. All right, cool. So you guys are okay up there. That's good. That's good. I've got some, a bunch of friends in LA and in that area. I got to definitely got to send them. Hey, what's up? Make sure that they're okay and their houses are okay. I've seen like just tons of videos of like landslides and mudslides going into houses. Guy's just sitting there watching TV, and here comes the mud from the house above, just coming right into his house. Yeah, high winds. Boss lost some of his roof. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we had there was a derecho that came through here 10, 12 years ago that was pretty amazing. Yeah, I haven't talked to Frank yet. I got to give him a text. He's supposed to send me my double neck, so I'm still waiting on that. Not that we're doing guitar talk. We saved that for the other channel, but Leon and I started as guitar, so we'll always eventually go back to that. His were far more pointy than mine. Far more pointy. Guess that's it. I appreciate you guys hanging out and chatting tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed the alcohol trick and the Sharpie and alcohol trick to take care of that stuff. I see a lot of guys who have 10 different marks on there, and I'm like, how the hell do you know which one? Point equals tone. How do you know which one you're supposed to mark to? If you go through this and you draw out, we'll just put one reference in here. If you do this and then you're like, oh no, it has to come out here, and then you scribble this away, I mean, that looks like crap, right? And then you're like, oh no, this isn't the right one either. We need to come all the way out here. I mean, that doesn't look good, right? To me, it doesn't. I don't. So, and especially if you're gonna do it yourself, that's one thing, because then you're like, oh no, I absolutely need to be at this mark here. I don't want to be back here or back here. But if you hand this off to John, who's going to cut it or weld it or whatever, now he's got to figure out what the hell's going on here. And ooh, spooky. Oh, creepy. There you go. And also, if you've done that and whatever happened, you cut the line or you welded it or whatever, and you still have those marks there, then you can make it actually look really nice by cleaning that off. Whatever's left over after you've done whatever fabrication you're doing, you just wipe it off. Yeah. So thanks a ton for hanging out with me in the shop tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed the tips. Hopefully you enjoyed the Ice versus EV chat, and hopefully Heather got some stuff regarding hood exit exhausts, and we'll definitely talk more about that. She and her son are working on 2 different Hondas, and she's just getting into it, and he's just getting into. I mean, he's I think her son's 14, so he's got a little ways before he's driving. But it's great to see, number one, females getting into it, and number two, kids getting into it. I love that. And I love that. Those people are there to learn, and then they're asking me questions about it. I love that part. So I love teaching. So I'm happy to help you guys out. Hammond, I'm going to see you on Friday, and we've got a bunch of cool cars. The limo's going in for exhaust quote on Friday, and then we're going to pick up the Urus and the Plaid on Friday as well. So we'll have different vehicles in here this weekend. Also, the MR6 will probably come in here tomorrow for the episode tomorrow night. We're going to do some computer stuff with the MR6. I just need to move. I'm going to shuttle vehicles around, so we'll be doing other stuff with the other vehicles. So I appreciate you guys hanging out, and like I said, if there's something else you want to talk about or something else you want to see, definitely put it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys subscribing. It's really cool to get that email that says, XYZ subscribed. That always makes you feel good. And definitely spread the word. We'll be doing a ton more of this stuff. The limo is super close to being done, ready to drive. I think the hardest part is going to be painting it. Finding someone to paint it is going to be probably the hardest part. So we'll keep going on that. And MR6 is ready for racing. The SRT4 is ready for racing. I got to do new tires on the SRT4, but we're doing new tires on the MR6. So all those tires will get ordered, and I'm just going to spend a whole day doing tires and wheels for MR6 and Miata and SRT4 for the Neon. Viper is great with tires. I think that's about it for now. We're doing good. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in the sheds that I'm either throwing out or selling or getting rid of. You guys are looking for anything, I have a ton of stuff for sale up on Facebook Marketplace. It's my actual name. I don't have any weird names or anything. Go check it out on Facebook Marketplace. Selling the trucks, selling the wheels. I've got another set. I've got a set of RPF 01s that are 17s that are going to go up there. Apple Watch, all this other stuff. I'm literally having a huge fire sale here at the house, at the shop and the house and everywhere else. We're just getting rid of everything. So, a heavy bag and a stand for it, all of that. So, thanks again for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I'll be back in the shop tomorrow night, hopefully a little bit earlier tomorrow night. It's like I said, it's hard with only 27 hours in the day. I'm trying to get all this stuff done, and yeah, it's difficult. But I appreciate you guys hanging out so late. I'll be here again, and I'll be back over on Facebook tomorrow. So definitely subscribe here, and let me know if you want to see anything else. And don't forget to show someone that you love them. It's very, very, very important. Give me a kiss on the cheek. Give me a kiss on the tip of their nose. Hold their hand. Give it a squeeze. Okay? It's I cannot tell you how important it is. That little thing goes so far. Show them that you love them. Okay? All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. I will talk to you on the next live. Cool.